Hello everybody, I hope you're all well. Today I wanted to share some thoughts with you around one of yesterday's lectionary passages, the passage in Acts chapter 17. Take a look if you like, read from verse 16, but it's about Paul's trip to Athens. And Athens is a very dear place for me and Sharon. It was one of the stops on our honeymoon. We ate some really good Greek kebabs there. And I think Paul's trip was probably very different to my honeymoon there. I wonder if he had a good gyros while he was paying a visit. But his was all about preaching and reaching people with the good news of Jesus. And he was doing that around Athens. And as he walked around Athens, he saw lots of statues, lots of idols of gods that they were worshipping. And so he began to preach about Jesus, his death and resurrection. And people were intrigued by this. They thought it was interesting, so they invited him to come to a meeting. And it's the challenge that Paul gave the people there in Athens that I wanted to share with you today. Paul was challenging them on two major things, really. And the first one was this: who is it that you're worshipping? He said, look, I'm looking around your city. There's all these idols and statues. How can you put God in a piece of clay or pottery or a jar? How can you put God, who created everything, into some sort of object? And he even challenged them because on one of the plaques it said, to an unknown God. I wonder today who it is that we worship. There's lots of things in our world that attract worship today. Lots of sports stars, lots of celebrities, pop stars, all these types of people can draw worship. Who do we follow on Twitter or Facebook? Who are the people that we really pin a lot of hope on and take a lot of notice of? I wonder if that is God for you. I wonder if it's Jesus Christ. And Paul directs the people of Athens to worship that one true God, that one God who did make everything in this world, created this wonderful place that we live in, and even made mankind. And he shares some thoughts with us here. And just to quote a couple of verses, he says, from one man he made all the nations, that they should inhabit the whole earth. God did this so that they would seek him, and that they would perhaps reach out for him and find him, because he is not far from any one of us. God created everything so that we would find him and seek him and reach him, because he isn't far from any one of us. And I just want to go back to that inscription, to an unknown God, because I think sometimes people think God is distant. A lot of other faiths believe God is far off. We can't reach him. But God wants to be a personal God to us. He wants to relate with us. He wants to speak with us and communicate with us. And sometimes even people in church, we don't really know the God we are worshipping. So my challenge today is, who is it that we are worshipping? Is it somebody other than Jesus Christ? Do we know the person we're worshipping? Do we have that relationship with him? Do we know him as a personal God in our walk through this life? And Paul carries on in our passage, and he talks to the people of Athens about these statues, saying they're pretty empty, they're pretty useless, they don't do anything for you. And he talks about God to the people of Athens, saying, for it is in him that we live and move and have our being. And even some of your own poets have said that we are God's offspring. Therefore, since we are God's offspring, we should not think that the divine being is like gold or silver or stone. And God is much more than that, isn't he? He's our Father in heaven. And that's what Paul is getting at. Why do we worship? We don't worship emptiness, objects. We worship a God who wants to be our parent, who wants to be our father, and a good father at that. And that's the reason he gives us life. It's in him that we have everything that we need. It's in him that we breathe the air around us. And God deserves our praise and our worship and our thanks for all he's given us in this wonderful world, for all he's blessed us with, and just for being our Father and for showing us his love. That, like a father, loved so much that he sent his son. And that's the reason we worship. And I could go around churches, obviously not at the minute during lockdown, and ask people, why is it you're here today? Some people might genuinely not know. For some, it's just a tradition. For some, it's because it's what the family do. For some, it's something else. But our true reason for worship is because we have a God who made us, who loves us, who parents us, and who wants to walk with us each and every day. And so today, my challenge is Paul's challenge. Who is it that we worship? Why do we worship? Take those thoughts with you today, mull them over in your minds, and think about your answer to those two questions. God bless you. May you take care and stay safe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.